I think a big key to CLG's success right now would honestly be how Huhi plays and how aphromoo plays with the mid pressure. I think that Huhi roams a lot on his champion pool. He plays a lot of champs like Sol and like Taliyah, which affects the map really, really heavily if they're ahead. And they're pretty good at doing that. So with that pressure, they can use aphromoo to roam around the map and make plays themselves, and it just frees up the whole map. And I think the biggest key to being CLG is to be able to shut down that system and play our game, which is pretty similar too. Like get Jensen ahead and take over the world.
Welcome back to Canalogic Gaming versus Cloud9. CLG has chosen blue side for game at number 2, and it was a surprisingly slow-paced affair in the first one, but C9 did play pretty calm, pretty collected, and did come out with a game 1 victory.
Yeah, and even though it was slow, they did still manage to play towards their win conditions, which I think, as Smoothie said there, was get Sneaky ahead, get Jensen ahead, and the big kicker for this game was the fact that Impact was also very far ahead of Darshan and was a rock in those team fights.
Yeah, it's also kind of crazy to me that he wasn't even really stacking armor in lane. I mean, his first completed item was a Spirit Visage, and he's still doing so well. So he really did make it look easy, and it's very encouraging for C9 if their top lane is crushing. Because to me, the main criticism of C9 throughout this regular season was inconsistencies in the top side of the map. That had been, to me, the big difference between spring and summer.
I think so as well, and certainly Impact feeling comfortable on a champion like Maokai, which we do expect. So I expect quite a lot to change actually here in pick ban now that CLG have a bit more info, and are of course on the blue side for this second draft.
Exactly, because even though C9 did take control of that game later, it was very close for the first 25 minutes or so, and 5-game series have a lot of iteration within them. Also, C9 had all that time off. I think it's very fortunate for them to win the first game, because now they can feel like they're warmed up on stage. There was a real risk of them coming into the series and getting blown away by a CLG team that is very practiced.
You've also got to say, Cloud9's vision control was so good that game, and to me was one of the critical things that allowed them to maintain so much pressure around Baron on the top side of the map, to always have these pushing lanes. It felt like they worked so well as a team to really take over the CLG jungle. That's one of the concerns that some people had was, OmarGod, so he has had a couple good series, but it was against Shrimp, it was against Moon. Contractz is a cut above. This is who a lot of people had as the second best jungler in the LCS behind only Smoothie. So this is a new and harder challenge for him.
Well, a different draft as expected here. Tank spanned on the CLG side. Maokai, Galio, and Cho'Gath all taken away with Asol, Kalista, and Na. And that leaves first pick Xayah. Very simple there for CLG.
Yeah, this is something they did yesterday to much effect. Very difficult to dive all the way onto Xayah in a fairly engaged heavy meta. Like picking Jarvan into Xayah is dangerous, even if you still want the Jarvan for the engage and the early jungle path.
Now, this is interesting. I might have expected them to actually take away the Gragas because it has been so important for OmarGod, but I guess they're just not really worried about it. OmarGod does still have the Zac available that he has played some here too. So we'll see if he is going to try to change things up at all. But I mean, this could be going, either top or jungle as the Jarvan. That's always one of the powers of its flexibility. But these days, it's almost exclusively jungle.
Yeah, only 3 jungle Jarvan games for Contractz in the summer split. Interestingly enough, that was his first Nidalee game on the LCS stage that he played just now. So clearly prepping some other jungle picks.
Oh, Jax.
Yeah, the champ is back, by the way. Sejuani and Jax are the next round of picks here in Phase 1 for CLG.
The blind Jax is pretty brave, I always feel like, because even if you go into some sort of a tank matchup, and I think that's why they did a triple tank ban, you can just be kind of held even. And now they're trying to make Impact play a carry into this. One of the carries that oftentimes people are worried about is Rumble, but there's not a lot of Rumble this season for Impact. So he's actually going to go to Shen.
Exactly. Impact says no thanks on the carry versus Jax matchup. He's going to try and split the lane and almost play the same style of game he'd play against Gnar, where he's trying to neutralize the Jax, not die to him, and then have a larger influence in team fights with multiple ways to get into them.
And I certainly think that the Shen can be fairly effective. One of the things that does kind of work in your favor is it's actually hard for Jax to get up on the turret simply because of the taunt. If you ever actually do get taunted up, Jax can't just ignore a Shen like you can some of the other champions because of that mechanic pulling aggro from the turrets in later stages.
Certainly interesting to see how that 1v1 plays out, but mid lane bans continuing here in phase number 2. Taliyah banned once again by C9, and Orianna actually taken off the board by CLG. So continuing the theme of getting Jensen off that big champion he's had all season.
Yeah, the mid lane bans are flying through, but we also have to consider that there's desynced support pools and desynced AD carry pools with the picks right now. So it is actually pretty surprising that C9 doesn't throw a ban at Thresh and that CLG doesn't throw a ban at Tristana, because those are almost certainly the choices coming through on the other side.
I guess there's just so much concern over the mid lane. I mean, you heard Smoothie talking about how much they think CLG is playing through Huhi, and Huhi, you know, they're obviously very concerned about Jensen here as well. It is a blind Cassio, so it'll be pretty interesting to see if Huhi is going to feel comfortable bringing out the Vel'Koz, which would make sense in this matchup, and is one of the Huhi specials.
It's kind of his go-to counter pick in the matchup, if you will.
Yeah, outranging a lot of the things that Cassiopeia can do. Cassiopeia is mid to long range, but Vel'Koz's almost entire kit outranges it. I'm very surprised to not see him go for Vel'Koz, actually, with the thought being Vel'Koz is good against Cassio, but not that great against all the hard engage C9 has. And Viktor can block that a little bit better with Gravity Field.
Yeah, it almost felt like perhaps Cloud9 was trying to bait it, so CLG is like, no, we're not going to do it. This is almost too obvious of a pick, but Viktor certainly still can be quite powerful. You can have some of the same things happen. You can outrange a little bit with your laser and sometimes be able to poke Cassio down and be very disruptive and annoying with that. But aphromoo back on playmaking does give them an additional front line here as well. And similarly, you know, as Rakan Xayah have that kind of combo where Rakan CCs and allows you time to build up the feathers and then pull through for the root, Alistar can do a similar thing with his engage combo. If you hit the headbutt pulverize, you land the stun, it's more than enough time to get 3 feathers down on the ground, pull it back for a root, and perhaps a powerful all-in.
I like the pick there as Cloud9 do the simple thing and take Tristana as their expected and final pick here in this draft. I think Alistar for me, CLG with the Jax drone very early are going to be playing 4-1 for the majority of this game if they can afford it. Your 4 needs to be very strong in that case, and Alistar, I think, adds a little bit more to that unit.
It is certainly true, but this is not a Fiora. This is someone who can group a lot more easily than some of the other pure split pushers, especially because Darshan loves to stack HP, loves going for things like the Frozen Mallet even, relatively early on to get that extra health. And it'll be interesting to see how he wants to play it, because when we have seen him play it most recently, even if he has a side lane advantage, he's often bringing that to the team and looking for flanks.
Yeah, and I think the Jax flanks are really strong, especially with the build these guys have been doing with the Hydra and the Trinity Force. It's a large amount of burst damage, good enough tankiness in the team fights to synergize with his ultimate, and I don't actually foresee a world where the Jax is crushing the Shen and split pushing. I more see a world where he has the edge in the split push, and therefore that can set up flanks to join fights.
It's always going to be that late game kind of insurance policy, though. You know, if C9 wants to play really slow, well, Darshan's saying, sure, I'll play a slow game. I'm going to be Jax, right? You are going to eventually get to that point where it's so hard to stop you.
Certainly could be a very exciting end game, but we'll see if we can get a foothold perhaps in the early game. Fans are pumped up, though, as Cloud9 pick up game number 1, but CLG here to fire back pretty quickly, you have to think, and we're expecting it to be a close series, so that likely means we're going a pretty far way through the series itself. We'll have to see just how many games we get, though, in our best of 5. As we are chilling out here.
Hey, man.
There we go. Out on the Summoner's Rift here as CLG move out from the blue side in game number 2. C9 up 1. Gonna be happy to hold some of CLG's momentum and kind of warm up those hands here, but CLG can very easily tie this up here, and of course, once we tie it up, we will have ourselves a series. We'll see what CLG do here.
Yeah, and you could see how many bans were thrown in this second phase towards mid laners, even when there could have been support bans by C9 or the Tristana ban by CLG, which is an incredibly strong meta 80 carry that Sneaky had a very good game on. So I want to see what CLG has planned to try and deal with this Cassiopeia.
Yeah, it's also something with the Tristana where another nice synergy is you can buffer the rocket jump against these headbutt pulverizes and sometimes just be able to actually escape from those engages.
Well, certainly saw quite a lot of activity despite how slow the game sort of developed in. Teams were certainly trying to make some plays. I think both Aphro and Smoothie actually could do a better job getting out of their lanes if they find that room and making plays. That's how so many of these teams get their advantages. You can see Aphro even chilling out right now, maybe hoping someone face checks this brush.
And I do expect this to be a more proactive game from C9 because I think that Shen ultimate is used best proactively. One of the best ways to actually utilize that Shen ultimate is also on the Rakan, who can deliver you so well into these team fights. You have very hard engage with someone like the J4 from Contractz, so they have so many go buttons, so to speak, that I expect them to want to be utilizing them early and often.
Yeah, and the balance is going to have to be in when they go all in, are they watching their flanks? Because a lot of the same things that they would be engaging on with the Rakan CC or the Shen ultimate are also the things that need to be able to protect Sneaky in these team fights. So the setup and the vision control that was key last game is going to be really important in this one too.
Yeah, it's such an interesting balance because likewise, as we may see Contractz go for an early level 2 gank.
This is a gank that Moon pulled off yesterday, starting red, looping around to the blue side, and then going for a gank.
Huhi already been spotted. The Contractz does force the flash out, so just dips in, and I'd say early success there for Contractz.
Yeah, certainly, especially because he did not have to commit his own flash. And you can pull off a very easy repeat gank with the flag and drag flash. So you flash past where your flag is, landing that knock-up, which makes it for a pretty much guaranteed Q from Jensen, and you can probably chase down Huhi and try to look for that kill.
Gonna have to play safe as Darshan has wallops Impact there in that 1v1. Again, gonna have to watch this one closely. Darshan, adept in a lot of these matchups. Not too many Jax players out there in the world. Darshan's certainly been one of them locally.
Yeah.
As Omar is gonna steal away some Raptors after Contractz' pressure in mid lane.
I can name one Jax player who is an LCK champion, though. He will be going to Worlds. That's what Darshan and Impact are hoping to do as well. Jax definitely can work, but you do have to play around it. So Darshan infused to pull out that pick when Khan used it to help defeat SKT.
I always feel like playing a champion like Jax takes some balls because if it goes bad, it goes so bad. This is not, oh, I'm Maokai, I'm 50 CS behind. No problem, though. I'll be useful in the team fights. If you are behind, it's bad, but they are going to be looking for this dive, and this is so critical if they can make it work.
This is a new CLG special in a lot of ways. Still going to line it up. The stuns are everywhere. Great Spirit's Refuge, though. Impact really softening the early parts of that game. Darshan leaps away, and now the taunt lands in. No help, though, for Impact. He's going to have to keep up playing, but he almost takes out Omar.
He might go for a kill.
1v2 flashes in. That's forcing the flash from Omar, but Impact cannot chase Darshan.
So what happened there is Omar dropped turret aggro when he procced his stun onto Impact, which meant Darshan could not try and finish the kill. Oh, man.
Really well played from Impact. This is kind of the classic Impact at his best, surviving, absorbing pressure. The use of his Spirit's Refuge was essentially perfect there, and now they're going to be looking for a first blood of their own. Remember, no flash on Huhi. Will Contractz be able to land it? So
close to his turret with Steel heal up. They'd have to land it very close to perfect to actually get the kill. Here he comes.
Contractz coming again, flashes in, looks for him, but doesn't get it. Huhi stands his ground, but Jensen commits his flash for this kill.
Contractz actually went for the flash flag and drag instead of the flag and drag flash there to guarantee the knockup. That to me speaks of a little bit of inexperience on the champion, but here is the play again, and so critical is the use A of the taunt for Impact and B of the Spirit's Refuge. And as the Counter-Strike is coming out from Darshan, he waits. Just now does he pop his Spirit's Refuge,
right
so that he's not taking damage during that stun. That was beautiful from Impact.
Turrets also do a lot of damage early, then the aggression afterwards to make the repeat dive impossible. A little bit crazy there with the flash. Didn't even flash close enough to OmarGod, but got his flash anyway.
I think he was maybe trying to flash over the wall, but
yeah, I think he was trying to gain extra distance, but got bounced to the other side a bit.
We'll give him that one because the earlier part was great.
Going for double bumps.
Looking pretty good as Contractz finishes this camp. OmarGod back to this top lane though. 2 Dorans also on Darshan, so he's getting aggressive in this 1v1.
Impact is flashless. Darshan still has his, but it's still pretty difficult to kill a level 5 Shen.
Yeah, I mean, as long as Impact is not using his taunt aggressively, it is very hard. Where it gets concerning is the fact the wave is pushing against him, and that does make it so you have to go up very far or give up a lot of CS. So he's definitely being pulled into an awkward spot, and Darshan will be level 6 pretty soon, which could make this easier.
And there's no Contractz in Impact's back pocket to help him shove this wave up, so wave's going to be in a bad spot, and OmarGod's just waiting for Impact to get a little greedy.
Playing to the bot side, Afro headbutts Trist away. Smoothie does get aggressive, Feathers pull back, but no root there for Stixxay, I do believe.
Nice little play from aphromoo, pretty simple stuff, but just disengaging the damage coming out. So the CC has already landed from Smoothie. He is not the threat. Simply headbutts Sneaky away and makes it so not much is going to happen there.
Flash stun there onto Impact. OmarGod looking to line it all up. Juke Super doesn't quite get the taunt. The stun's going to land in, and first blood over to Omar.
Yep. Persistence really pays off right there, as Omar spent as long in the control ward in the river as it took for Contractz to clear the entire blue side of his jungle. So the fact that they got that first blood, very key to just keep him on par with the farm level of Contractz.
Yeah, I mean, they just had to get something done up there because Contractz was near a level up in experience, and the Jax is someone you really want to snowball. If they can get him ahead early, they're hoping that's going to be their win condition.
C9 trying to trade reds, though, as both junglers look to steal them away. And Jensen returns with a tier. Got a Dark Seal also next to that Corrupting Potion, as Huhi playing a little more up in the lane. Has the upgrade already, gets a stun. Ultimately going to do a bit of extra damage, but Jensen holds onto the cleanse and walks back towards the safety of his turret.
We are going to see it one more time. So Darshan looking to set this up with the flash for the counter-strike. He has the Q to follow. Impact with a nice step through to try to land the taunt, but Sejuani passive more than enough. Yeah,
that's the big thing right there, is the longer Impact saved his taunt so he didn't get interrupted by the Sejuani Q, the easier it's just going to be for OmarGod to press a button on him, get a free stun, and then get the kill.
Yep, nice play there from CLG to convert first blood in the top lane. Up again, a few hundred gold here in this early game, as both Omar and Afro have actually roamed to this mid lane, but Jensen has pulled the wave back very far. And actually a 3v3 potentially developing. Huhi gonna get jumped on Jensen. Not quite stunned this time, and Afro shows himself.
Oh, and now C9 is here.
Yeah, Afro actually no ultimate, so he's gonna get knocked out. The Shen's gonna be committed. Afro flashes out from under the Cataclysm. Impact gonna try and be delivered forward. The taunt is gonna force a flash from Huhi.
Such a good flash there from Afro. So doesn't early flash, waits till the Cataclysm is committed, then actually flashes to avoid the damage. And because Impact had his flash forced in the upper plays, he couldn't actually follow to get a taunt.
Yeah, that was really tight play as far as the outcomes go. Jensen getting his Storm Raiders to avoid the gank in the first place, pretty critical. The fact that no one died there, rather surprising. And here's that return gank, maybe on both sides.
Oh, another gank here on the bot side. Afro is still the target. Damage is good, but not enough there with the Jarvan. I don't think quite getting his Thunderlord's proc. Sneaky not in range to do extra damage, and the wave not there to dive.
They are going to have to kind of retreat, though. This means that they may be able to push CLG off this bot turret, and with
Stixxay's level 6.
Stixxay's trying to fight them off here. They're actually going to go in onto Smoothie, but level 5 for the Rakan, as Omar also level 6, lining up for dive in top lane.
Again.
All right, can they make this one work? Impact and Houdini his way out of this, gets damage onto Darshan. Going to take the cannon creep out, just trying to trim the wave as quick as possible.
Got rid of the Sejuani passive there by having him take the turret shot, so it makes him a little less tanky to dive. Impact totally on his own up here. What can C9 do while he's buying all this time?
Another dive potentially, but they're going to try and take down the turret instead. Afro cannot be that far from level 6, and neither can Smoothie, but damage is still there. A couple caster creeps still left around. Need to get it done here. Sneaky going to try and get the explosive charge damage down, but Stixxay going to force him off with the wave not there, and actually goes aggressive, really dealing damage to Trist.
C9 bot lane is getting a pretty big advantage, though, up over 20 CS. That turret is probably going to go down on the next wave. It's almost unavoidable with just the explosive shot and an auto. This is going to be a big edge for C9 on the bot side.
Turret's going to fall, and that's gold shed as Contractz actually gets the last hit. C9 with a good amount of pressure across their lanes, and now despite losing first blood, they are the ones up 1,000 gold here.
I mean, Sneaky on his own is nearly up 1,000 gold. He was up about 900 or so. On that Tristana, which is going to be really, really nice when I also do favor the Tristana over the Xayah as you go later into the game.
Yeah, and then the question becomes here, where are the trade-offs? Darshan trying to get this turret eventually does have an equally large CS advantage on the other side, but a teleport coming in to try and keep him off this turret.
Is going to work. Does cancel, so Impact with a nice little bluff.
Really smart, actually, because it pulls him off the turret, still gets him to the wave in time, but now he has a shorter teleport cooldown. So the bigger question is, who will carry here? C9 carrying through bot, or COD trying to play through top? Lately, it's been bottom lane that usually is able to carry, but Jax is the one champion who has shown the ability to carry through top lane.
I definitely agree. One thing working for CLG in this case, though, is the powerful wave clear of Viktor. Because this is a guy who can hold against turrets, and I think that oftentimes the way that the bot lane extends their advantage is by going around, knocking down all those turrets, getting all that gold, and really accruing advantages that way. But Viktor sometimes can be one of the champions who can shut that down.
We'll see exactly where C9 go next. There's a Mountain Drake up for grabs if teams want it, would help with any potential sieges / objectives in the future. But I think Cloud9 fishing for their first kill once more here in game number 2. Aphro, though, defending Huhi, and Huhi's done a great job playing nice and safe. Contractz, though, leaps on him with the ulti. Huhi, no flash. There's a recombo there, in onto Viktor for the damage, and Jensen able to get the kill, but Omar finds his way in, gets Contractz, but a great start. Lands in, huge as he gets the front line as Darshan TP's in and runs away. Cloud9 with a very clean gank.
The miasma there was so good from Jensen. It actually prevented Aphro from peeling them off of Huhi, and they're now, with that Viktor down, he's going to be able to pressure this turret.
Yeah, huge 4v4 in the mid lane there, and getting the kill over to Jensen is pretty critical for C9 as he's one of their main damage sources coming through in the late game. Contractz just going all out just to get Huhi CC'd. Flag, drag, flash, all. The amount of distance covered there, pretty much 2,000 units at least. Now they're going for Mountain Drake as well after the fight with.
Contractz should be able to get it here. Does have the smite, and OmarGod's not in range. And remembers that CLG will stick around to try and steal it, as Impact still fending off this Jax.
Darshan just needs to get to the turret, but once again, you have to be scared of the taunt, right? If he gets taunted up, he's not so far ahead that he can just... That was actually
that
so
was really
slick.
nice. Wow. Darshan.
Oh my god, he avoids the taunt there, preemptive. You actually proc your Shen as well to knock down the turret. That was a thing of beauty.
I mean, Darshan certainly experienced on this champ, and 30 CS up in this 1v1. Impact is struggling to absorb the pressure as Darshan pushes himself further ahead. CLG going to continue to try and capitalize on that top lane advantage and look to take the Rift Herald.
Yeah, it is Darshan's time to shine. He talks so much about legacy and top lane performance and how he wants to be remembered as a great top laner. In a meta where top laners are having a hard time standing out, CLG puts him in a position where he can stand out, willing to go for those plays where he leap strikes forward, dodging the taunt to get the turret. But we're going to watch this 4v4 in the mid lane.
Yeah, this is the engage you talked about. Look at the engage rate from so far away. Now track the miasma, it comes down, and Aphro, I think, is trying to headbutt. And he actually took him a little while to realize he was in the miasma. He had to walk back out of it, move around, and then heal. So he wasn't actually able to keep Huhi alive. So very critical follow-up there from Jensen. And had they been able to get that peel off a little bit earlier, maybe he lives and they could perhaps turn something around.
Well, instead, CLG do get that turret thanks to Darshan's little move. That's going to even up the total turrets taken. C9 still up in gold, but that gold lead has moved under 1,000. Another pretty slow-paced game here. C9 again trying to be active. CLG doing the same. Looking to babysit their mid lane through what's been a lot of pressure thrown his way. Huhi with the Hexball finish as C9 look to make a play on this turret.
Yeah, threatening the flank there is Contractz, making it really hard for Huhi to actually step up and safely wave clear. So really good pressure that they're putting on. They're putting a lot of focus to knocking down this mid lane turret, hoping that will unlock the jungle, unlock the rest of the map so they continue to accrue a gold lead.
And I think it also has a secondary goal of trying to get Jax out of the side lane because they would rather have the 5v5s at this stage in the game than a 1v1 with a 3v3 in the mid lane and split pushing AD carries. Right now, grouping is good for C9 because they have so many initiation tools.
I think this build is actually pretty intelligent from Impact. So it's essentially the maximum wave clear that you can go. You go for the Bomby Cinder for Sunfire. You also go for the Titanic because all he has to do is hold waves. So the faster you actually clear out the wave, you deny Jax access to the turrets. And as long as you are holding him even, it doesn't actually matter if he really gets ahead in CS because you have incredible scaling on Cassio and the Trist.
Big Rift Herald summon right here. Jensen also didn't get the blue buff because of the pressure from Stixxay.
Yeah, nice deny there as the Rift Herald charges in. Might have enough to clear it out of the way in time, but Jax looking for the flank on the left-hand side. C9 recognizing that pressure, do back away, and that's CLG going to get that first mid-outer turret.
Yeah, and that's a good example of Darshan flanking and getting the job done without actually engaging. C9 was going to try and defend that mid lane turret until Darshan roamed around the top side to think about that dive. So good job by Darshan, opening the space up to be able to roam.
C9, though, right back to the scene of crime. They're trying to knock down this turret, and it is very low. It's only going to take a couple of hits here from Trist.
Yeah, should be enough here with the explosive charge down, and turret traded as C9 even up that score. CLG probably knew they couldn't really defend, but at least feint one and give Darshan a bit more time to push the minions towards the tier 2 in top lane. He is not quite there on the Trinity Force just yet, but I think is a shot away from collecting it, and that will give him a huge push in power as Darshan does look to take over the side lane once again.
Yeah, not a massive lead onto Impact, and the question will be, does Impact just clear waves fast enough for Darshan's strength not to matter, because yeah, he can get the Triforce, but I think Jax can't really go for those full turret dives until he's got a little bit of tankiness as well. So for now, the Triforce will be good for being able to flank in team fights, but still very similar to game 1 in how close this game is, approaching 20 minutes.
It's almost kind of a situation for Darshan where you're kind of hoping Impact goes for a play that fails and you can stay in the side lane and really try to cash in on some of the turrets, which, you know, could happen if there's a really good disengage, say, from aphromoo, right? If he can actually headbutt away a Rakan ultimate W combo, something like that may buy him the time to really knock down some turrets and get an advantage.
I think the plan is kind of the same here, though, for C9. Still holding on to a slim gold lead of about 400, but not much just yet. There's a Mountain Drake up in a minute 10, but C9 pushing Sneaky back again to a side lane here. Does have a bit more help. They're going to try and knock down this turret as well, try and start a fight, but CLG read this pretty simple play and are poised to defend as Jensen also roaming up. C9 can have all 5 here if they want it.
Yeah, it would be pretty risky to dive there because they don't have that much deep vision, and Huhi has gone missing from the mid lane. Very difficult to dive a Viktor, and that's one of those champions we don't see as much anymore, but when a Viktor is in the game, it is usually a long one because of how easily he can clear waves and how difficult it is to dive a Viktor, not only because of wave clear, but also because gravity field takes up so much space and you don't want to dive into a stun field.
Good trade there from Impact. They're getting some good damage down onto Darshan, who does have the Trinity Force now finished, but Impact kind of weaving in his cooldowns effectively to try and reduce all the Jax damage.
The Spirit's Refuge really does kind of give you a way to actually win those trades. When it's down, it's very hard, and the longer the trades go, it can get worse and worse for you. But you know, so much of Jax's damage is A in his W and B in his third hit passive, and you can block both of those out, actually, you know, with your Spirit's Refuge.
Mountain Drake back up, and looks like C9 already there. Contractz going to zoom down with a bit of help from Impact, who does have a pretty significant amount of damage to add here.
Yeah, and getting Mountain Drake for C9 is really important for the later stages of this game. It gives Darshan slimmer and slimmer windows with which to set up split push, because double Mountain Drake plus Cassiopeia is an incredibly fast Baron take. Cassiopeia without Mountain Drake is already threatening and hard to split push against. This is a whole nother level.
Not to mention the Trish, who again is continuing to stick in these side lanes and slowly accrue farm. Still 20 CS ahead of Stixxay, and C9 are just very calmly executing this game plan. It feels like, especially with a champion like Trish, they're comfortable just playing a little bit slower. They know how to safely get sneaky farm, and this time they actually have pressure in other sections of the map to kind of force CLG to come to them. So as far as executing on game plans, C9 looking very similar to that first game. We'll have to see again where that first major conflict is coming, because we're 19.5 minutes in, there's only been 2 kills.
Yeah, it really does feel like they're prioritizing getting Sneaky side lane farm very heavily. As you're saying, they did in game number 1. They're constantly sending him to the side lanes in game number 2 here as well. And the big difference for me is that game number 1, they had a poor laning phase where they were behind. It was more, he was catching up from it. This game, he's getting ahead, right? He's the incredible scaling AD carry. He's sitting in the side lanes. He's getting lots of solo experience. He's getting a lot of farm as well. No, he's only a level behind the solo laners in the top lane. That's a very, very strong Trist.
Impact does commit a TP to get down to this bottom side, but of course has a global to spare with his ultimate. Jensen has to play strong side, gets out from under aphromooo's potential gank. Both his mid laners done a really good job playing safe, actually, given all the pressure that's been launched their way, but you can see Darshan trying to win this trade. The red buff helping out.
Yeah, Impact's got to be careful because he's already used his teleport to get there. So taking that trade to get a control ward down, pretty risky for him, but got enough to poke back onto Darshan. And Darshan is also without lifesteal that he feels comfortable doing it.
Yeah, and thankfully for him, the red buff actually expired, so Darshan can't just regen back up and continue to bully. But it'll be interesting to see if he does decide to actually go for the more standard, you know, Titanic Hydra or kind of the Darshan special, the Frozen Mallet, or if he actually wants to go for that pure dueling item. Blade of the Rune King is the more old style, and he buys the Tiamat, decides better of it, and he is going to be going towards either the Frozen Mallet or that Titanic Hydra.
Kind of keeping his options open there.
I think it's going to be a Frozen Mallet, only because the long lanes will open up later, but it's going to depend on the tendencies of the game.
Certainly is, and once again, kind of a slow burner here as C9 do take the top outer turret, and find themselves up in turrets, if only barely. Jensen going back. He's got some shopping to do. Looks like Morellonomicon is likely finished, if not a little bit extra. Grab some control wards on the way out. Huhi also getting there. So again, kind of item timing's being hit at the requisite times and still tracking the bot lane is here maybe more than anything. Sneaky and Stixxay have a decent amount of gold to spend, and they'll be at Zeal item number 1 soon. Sneaky just finishes his, and Stixxay should be done shortly. So wherever that conflict goes, we'll have to find out, but it might not be around that next Drake. We had an Inferno to kind of break that open in the first game as the 3rd Drake. This time, it's another Mountain. So C9 could really grab a hold of the objective race if they can get triple Mountain, because like you already said, Jack, Cassio is going to shred through it. Trist will as well when she gets there. Double Mountain was enough, triple's going to be overkill.
Yeah, I actually do kind of feel like it's overkill. The difference between a 6-second Baron and a 4-second Baron is 2 seconds. Like, it's not making a huge strategic difference in the way you play the game.
Sometimes those slim margins can be pretty big.
Never know. It's going to happen.
And it can make a difference, I would say, on perhaps something like a 2-man Baron rush. But they are going to be looking for the play on Sneaky. We'll see if Omar can find him.
Good buster shot. Omar moves back around. Sneaky looking to juke out of the way. Can't juke the ulti as Shen. He's going to fall in. Sneaky, though, doesn't get the ult at Smoothie. He tries to disengage the rest of an impact. A big taunt, but Huhi able to steal the kill. Smoothie goes down as well to Viktor. His Contractz a little late here. Impact flashing out of the way, but Jensen has roamed up, but no help now as the exhaust goes down. Darshan also TP's in. CLG with 2 good kills there.
That was a good play from CLG, but Darshan could have just stayed bot side. Instead, he's going to TP in, and they're going to go for the Baron. This has to signify, because he could have taken a free turret. Contractz is alive, though. Jensen has the ultimate flash and cleanse. He's still very strong.
CLG was so far ahead on that play. Jensen,
gets an ulti, but he actually gets spotted by Omar. The flashes are going to follow. Cleanse not good for the knockup as Jensen forced the flash out of the way, but the Feather Storm should be enough. Stixxay gets the kill, and CLG are onto Baron.
But C9 is respawning, and Contractz is still alive. Impact is back. They're very low. They actually cannot go for it. So that huge ultimate and the damage coming out of Jensen does stop the Baron.
That does swing the game into CLG's favor, though. A blind check by Omar into that brush where Jensen was waiting to pick up a kill. It could have been a risky Baron, but watch this one more time. Smoothie and Sneaky are just in the river, and look how far behind the Jarvan and the Cassio are on the minimap.
And the initial play from Sneaky is great, but flash the ultimate. That is something that you certainly should be able to react, knowing it's coming in. When you flash after the sun has landed, it's not going to get you away from Huhi there. So really, that was the critical error, I feel, from C9 in this fight, because otherwise, with Jensen here, with Sneaky still alive, that's a fight they can maybe turn around, and then here's the Baron play.
Yeah, just going straight for Jensen. They're like, yeah, he's stuck into this brush for sure. They may have spotted him with that River Ward before he got into the one with the control ward, and then Stixxay and Huhi just moving forward to pick up another kill. I think they could have gone for the Baron there, but they didn't want to risk Impact and the rest of C9 coming from base.
Feeling a little scared perhaps, but they do claim the gold lead here, up about 1,000 after the team fight exchange, and I think finally C9 get punished for having their dual lane in a side lane for so long here. Sneaky has still collected a lot of farm though, so might not slow them down too much unless they can keep it going, or as CLG may look to do now, stay grouped and really force a fight.
So many summoner spells burned in that last fight as well, so being able to get vision control even more important. Initiating on someone with no flash more likely to be a kill if you have Fog of War control.
Double buff Darshan though, despite not having his TP up, is pretty threatening here to Impact. He's going to have to dodge out of the way. Still has a turret to go back safely too. Stun lands. Impact has the wave here. He's going to taunt through, and Darshan might chase, but he has to dive a turret if he wants to try and get this 1v1. Pulls it back. Spirit's Refuge is good, and Darshan has to book it out of the way. The engage comes. 3-man knuckle after the recombo from Smoothie, but Huhi, a great ult down Afro, gets the stun. Sneaky melts under the pressure, and Contractz now has to book it. CLG far too strong in that 4v4.
That was actually a 3v4 for most of it, as Stixxay just arrived down, so CLG would win despite with that Viktor burst, and they are straight onto the Baron. Looks like it won't even try to contest.
Yeah, because while that was happening, Darshan finished the dive onto Impact, so he won the 1v1 on the other side. That was a bit of an all-in must-work play for C9, and trying to dive into Huhi's Viktor is just not working. He returns so much damage and stays alive.
And they're going to lose so much because the Baron buff minions will now pop up for Darshan. He's already on that turret, so they're going to lose at least the bottom side turret here too. Now having the Baron buff, like, you can have the Sunfire Cape, you can have the Tiamat. You can't clear Baron minions very well as Shen.
Afro just on a wall, but he does recall. Baron Empowered able to get him back to base nice and quickly. Trist back to the top half there for C9 as Sneaky collects the wave. We'll watch this again though.
Yeah, so they see Sneaky in, or Stixxay in the top side. That's why they go for it. Pop the Banshees Veil down, get the initiation, but Jensen's a little late on the play.
Pulverized from Afro, catching 3 men into the gravity field as you had talked about. Really powerful. And then I guess this is the other side again with the Spirit's Refuge down. Darshan decided to try to go back in.
Oh, he tries to teleport into the play, and Darshan just simply walks up and stuns him, then gets out of turret range for the continuation of the trade. Nice play by Darshan down the stretch.
Yeah, very well executed there actually from Darshan, and a little bit kind of daring Darshan to come in was Impact as he was TPing away in vision of him, and then actually choosing the fight. You know, he taunts forward onto Darshan, trying to continue that play. So when you win on both sides, it gets you such insane advantages.
Yep, and all of a sudden CLG actually very far ahead in the game. 5,000 gold up. C9 look to try and defend from this Baron power play. 2 minutes left still on the buff. CLG can do major damage here to C9.
Really difficult for C9 to come back in this stage because if Impact does try and join with Stand United, they're losing at least 2 turrets to the split-pushing Jax at this point.
And the question becomes, can he even hold his turrets? Just even if he stays there, right? With the Baron buff, if Darshan is confident to actually go up and even just get a hit or 2 with that Triforce Gene onto the turret, you can knock them down pretty quickly, and that turret is getting low on the top side.
Impact continuing to trade nicely, though. Again, the threat of that taunt under the turret is still tough for Jax to deal with. Baron buff drops off, so Impact clears this wave as CLG continue their assault here on their tier 2. Cloud9 left to recall. Sneaky, finishes his 3rd item, but looks like they'll be back in time to defend the wave and have so far done a good job keeping their turrets alive.
Yeah, it's difficult to hold turrets this far out. Afro has a potential to flash initiate. Much like it's hard to dive Viktor, though, it is hard to dive Cassiopeia. So holding for now, there's a chance that CLG is just waiting for Darshan to make headway on the other side of the map. In a 4-1, you just have to win one side to be able to make progress.
I do actually really like how Contractz is positioning, though, constantly on the side, threatening that flank. So it makes it really scary for Stixxay or Huhi to step up and get the turret. But as Jensen has to go answer the mid lane wave, finally they have found their opening and they do knock down another bot lane turret.
Might just be the one, though. We'll see if Darshan can kind of finish off his handiwork here in the top lane. Impact again, just causing Darshan to have so much respect for a potential taunt. CLG are going to push mid. They've got about 25 seconds of Baron left. They'll probably only get one more turret unless they can make some sort of dive.
And Impact actually went back to base, so they're looking to perhaps make a play, but Darshan's still shoving on the top side, so that turret likely will go down here. So that's the 3rd turret they've gotten with the first bottom outer from Darshan. He gets another for himself during the Baron buff.
C9 kind of prioritizing mid lane turret above all the other ones. I think they'd want to make a fight for this one since they, in a sense, sacrificed bottom lane for it when Jensen went to clear out mid. The Baron should expire on the next wave.
We'll see if CLG wants to stay around, though. They do have some gold, but the wave is pushing on the bot side. They've built that up a little bit, so it may have to be answered. And they do want to go and spend all their gold.
Yep, Omar has a bit of Baron left thanks to his mastery. But everyone else is just going to recall and we'll reset the map. Jensen able to clear this out here again. Carry's still getting stronger. 3 items done for Sneaky. Stixxay is quickly on the way. And Jensen actually with 3 and more to come. Cassio very good in the late game as well.
And track the buy here from Darshan. So he is now going for a late Blade of the Rune King. So that really does tell you he's planning on just staying in a side lane. He wants to build purely for that 1v1. Blade of the Rune King really is incredibly strong in that 1v1 against Impact, especially when you look at Impact and realize he's having to still build some MR to kind of be more viable in any potential team fights where he wants to go. So Darshan gets to build purely for the 1v1.
Yeah, unless there's a world in which Impact can loop Darshan into a team fight. That's almost all C9 has in their back pocket now, but there's 7,000 gold down. They don't have good ways of making it out on the map to utilize their Mountain Drake, so those are not very useful for them right now. I agree with Darshan's decision there to go Blade of the Rune King because with a lead like this, CLG shouldn't feel compelled to group almost ever. If Impact does go for a big team fight, then Darshan can just go kill the Nexus.
Yeah, he certainly can, and in the scenario where he does have to group, Huhi is so strong now that you have to give a lot of credit to him. You have to be diving for him. They're looking for Stixxay though.
Get the charge, the knockup lands in. They need to kill him through the Featherstorm. A Featherstorm happens. Jensen, I think with the poison, still gets the kill. Now Afro, he's left out to dry. He's got his ultimate, but I think he just has to hang on. Jensen able to grab the surprising double kill.
Oh man, both summoners up for Stixxay, just couldn't react in time to that initiation. A big pick for C9. Even though the Mountain Drake and Baron won't be spawning during these death timers, they can at least lay the foundation of vision.
Yeah, getting that vision back is so important for them to be able to make their plays, especially with Shen, when they want to be looking for those engages. And it was just a really nice play from Smoothie and Jensen, and so hard to react to those Rakan engages. They come in so fast from so far away, and that Stixxay just couldn't get his Featherstorm off early enough to avoid that damage.
Continuing to buy time for Sneaky as well, who went QSS before Last Whisper. Kind of valuing some of that, get himself out of trouble power rather than treading through some of the armor built up. Watch this again though, and just, yeah, too quick.
Man, flash from Rakan on that initiation as well. There is a world where Stixxay does just use the Rakan ult on the Jarvan ult, but he probably didn't feel like it was worth it until Smoothie came in, and then it was too late.
Yeah, and in that world, he perhaps would have just straight up dodged the complete Rakan combo, which really could have made things go poorly for them. But again, Darshan shoving up the waves with that Titanic Hydra, trying to utilize his power, his dueling. He's already level 18 because of all his time in those side lanes. And if Impact ever has to go for that play, if he does have to stand united, they could be losing that inhibitor, to your point.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, you're almost worried that you channel your ultimate, and if Darshan's there, you die.
Exactly. And he's going to have to trade with Darshan even just to defend the turret, so there's a chance that Impact isn't even at high health by the time he'd want to ult in. So in a lot of ways, C9 have to consider this a 4v4, and how do they defend this in a 4v4 situation?
Gets really tough because then you're left with a sole frontliner. You know, you have Contractz, but he is not really as tanky as you would want your only frontliner to be against this very strong Viktor. But Jensen looking for the collapse, and they're trying to get Darshan.
He insta-flashes out of the way, so a smart heads-up play from Darshan to get to safety, but CLG do what they can to retake Baron Vision.
Yeah, keeping some of the Mountain Drakes away from CLG, mostly important here, because it does slow the time they would be on Baron. And here's a window where Impact could go into the fight.
I mean, Stixxay took a lot of damage from the Baron there. Looks like they want to fight anyway, though. TP's coming in from Darshan.
Afro actually starting it, but a great ult does find Smoothie. Impact comes in, but he has to just book it out of the way, and Huhi still dishing out damage. OmarGod with the play does get chimed up on the other side, but the stone plate keeping him nice and healthy as Huhi zones out Contractz. And now Impact going to get chased down. CLG just trying to run somebody down. Looks like Impact is going to have to pay the price. Darshan with the leap strike and takes the kill.
And Jensen came back in for more.
Oh, Sneaky just kills Afro as Jensen able to stay alive. Smoothie going to force Stixxay to flash out of the way. Little too risky as Huhi. Oh, Sneaky's going to be a kill. Mistake there as Sneaky grabs the reset, looks for Omar. Flash forced out by Sejuani.
And this is where Double Mountain actually comes in big for them. They've killed Huhi and Afro, and they have Omar low, but he will be healing up with Warmogs. Stops the Warmogs. C9's going to go for Baron.
Yeah, I mean, Darshan decided to actually group. They tried to get even more, but this is just going to be a C9 Baron. I don't think there's any chance they can really get in there and stop this. They're going to try, though. Darshan's very low.
And he has ultimate, though, which could help. They peel for the fight.
Looks for the fight. They gets through into the Cataclysm, and Smoothie fights the knockup. Does get the bow, but not enough. Darshan able to get it. Contractz goes down to now C9. Just have to win the team fight. Miasma locks down 1-6-8. So low as the charge is not enough to kill him. Barely left heel through it as Sneaky's trying to chase down the jungler. Jensen looking on the chase as Omar does go down to Sneaky. Jensen still trying to find Stixxay, who doesn't have cooldowns. Jensen still chasing.
Gotta peel off. He couldn't finish him off. Stixxay with the Warlord's proc and the mini wave keeps him alive. Huhi's gonna be back up, but C9 gonna turn for Baron yet again. This one's gonna keep going.
Yeah, they're on the two-man Baron already. Tristana at full health, and Jensen can get over there and help them finish this one off. There's no jungler available. They can't steal.
A little risky. They need Huhi to try and do enough damage, but Afro's going to look to make the play and deny. Good buster shot from Sneaky. Baron over to Cloud9, but Huhi here to try and clean up a couple kills. Ultimate down. Jensen needs to run. He's got no flashes. Impact. He's just going to leave himself to sacrifice for the team.
Or is he?
Oh my God, he makes it out. Impact with the play. C9 saved the game.
These are the CLG C9 games that we remember. They always go so toe-to-toe in the regular season, and This one is still a little bit perplexing. CLG had the split push set up, but they get pulled into a team fight, and that leads to a series of events with C9 getting Baron.
I mean, it's kind of crazy because not only did they choose the team fight, they chose the re-engage. This was a stand united coming in. Impact could not cancel that. Darshan could have taken an inhibitor and had CLG try to disengage. Instead, they try to commit for the fight. It does not work out.
Omar may be caught here as well. Smoothie, we're going to charge it up. They're going to commit it all. Doesn't make it over the wall. Terrain is good. The charm there from the ulti after quickness into the knockup, and Omar pops the stone plate and still dies.
That is huge. They need to be able to get a minion wave to the turret, though. Interrupting with the Cataclysm. Perfect timing there by Contractz, but now they're going to try and push.
This could potentially be a game-ending push if they can actually pull off any sort of dive. I mean, Darshan cannot get out to a side lane. We'll see how well Huhi can actually wave clear here.
Yeah, Smoothie still has flash, but he does not have the quickness, which makes his initiation less reliable. But if they do catch that one initiation, it's massive because Darshan building towards a GA, that's not your team fight Jax build. That is your split push Jax build. And when the other team has Baron, you do not have the window to go split push.
C9, though, instead are just going to play it a little bit more passively. They're going to try to collect as much gold as possible, get the outer turrets, and they're comfortable just continuing to look for team fights. This does give Darshan more time, though, and he is going to be heading up to the top side. His Blade of the Rune King is completed, and as you said, he's building towards the GA, so he's still going to be a massive split push threat.
Stixxay going to be the target, knocked up into the miasma. There's the top of the Featherstorm and above it.
Huhi on the side.
Damage by Huhi. The Contractz barely stays alive for the rest of it. Aphro trying to peel, but Contractz is finally going to fall. Jensen exhausted, pops the Seraph Shield. Jensen 3-man ulti, but he just needs to disengage Jensen. I don't think he can make it out alive.
Omar almost has
going to try, but Jensen goes down. Huhi finds the kill. Now Impact is going to fall back into the gravity field. Huhi grabs the triple kill.
They commit so much to Stixxay. He gets off the Featherstorm, and Huhi is so strong at this point that he just shreds through them, but they're setting up a trap.
By Jax.
Darshan going to get charmed up, knocked up as well, but the dodge is maybe enough for the counter-strike. Still damage in, Buster Shot good. Sneaky, looks at the reset, fights it as now Aphro is going to headbutt him over the wall, but the re-engage comes. Rocket jump there, the stun only hits Smoothie. And Omar, you cannot face check this Triss.
You can't even call this game right now. It is going nuts. No one is letting up in this game. CLG goes for a big play. C9 goes for a 3-man fight when they have mini waves pushing against him and no control over the mid lane, but they are going back and forth. If Sneaky and Smoothie don't make that play, they at least lose one inhibitor, maybe two.
It is still very big, though, that the inhibitor turret went down. This means that there's no extra defense for the Shen when he's trying to hold off against Darshan. So if Darshan can get up there, he will be able to take it. But here's the play again. The Featherstorm does get off, and look at Huhi. He was baiting this. He was in the bush, out of vision from CLG. They were not expecting him there, and able to turn around all this damage, taking down Contractz and coming forward. Enough CC coming out of aphromoo and OmarGod to hold them in position and allow their mid laner to finish off these kills.
Yeah, and Stixxay honestly has to be faster dodging those initiations, especially in those bait scenarios. But they get the triple kill, and it's turned around there by some clutch plays from Sneaky and Smoothie. Sneaky now max items on Tristana.
Darshan does have his TP, so he's actually going to head to the bot side, not going up around top because they don't have vision there, even though the inhibitor is exposed. So they're trying to get this split push going, trying to get him in an isolated 1v1 again, as he has his GA completed. Certainly can look for pretty extended dives.
I mean, he's basically Glass Cannon Jax. He's got a little bit of health from his Trinity Force and his Titanic Hydra.
Bot lane is going down there, so he does have to be a bit careful.
The bottom lane can win the duel against him. The Trist and the Rakan, because they can CC chain. And Shen almost has no chance against him at this point, so this has to change the way C9 position around the map.
And I mean, the fact is, if Darshan can force two people to come to him constantly and not die, that opens up so many opportunities for the 4-man CLG squad, who are very strong in and of their own right, to actually get stuff done. I mean, if Huhi ever gets to a turret with that Lich Bane, he will be knocking you down pretty quickly.
Yeah, exactly, because we have two late-game mages as well in this game who are kind of the hyperscale variety, which you rarely see hit these points. When Huhi completes his death cap, as well as when Jensen does with his 6th full item, they're going to be doing even more. But just now, we saw Contractz melt after going for that dive on Stixxay on a Huhi. Still doesn't have magic resist because he's building the Randwinds to deal with the crit.
Darshan, though, is going to actually push the issue. He is up on the top side. They've just now spotted him. Shen is basing. Impact will not be able to stop him from killing
C9's gonna go for a fight.
Yeah,
They have to fight now.
Contractz looking for it. They want Afro on the top. Finds Stixxay. Huge play from Smoothie. They
Huhi's
do
okay,
it
though.
to kill Afro. He's now caught out of position. He's going to fall to do it from CLG. Does go down. Darshan is staying. This could be a race as C9 look to try and end the rest of the game. Omar is going to get taunted up, but he's so tanky as he flashes up from under C9.
Huhi being alive is absolutely the most important thing for CLG right now. C9's trying to kill him, but Darshan could end the game if no one goes back.
Yeah, he just cleared out the last minion there. Darshan's already on the Nexus turrets. Shen is back, though. He's going to have to back off.
One turret dead, that's bad.
They're on to Huhi.
But they're going to try and get Huhi. Damage is there, C9 able to get the kill, and now they need to try and end the game.
Omar is trying to cut the minion wave, but the minion wave is
dead.
right there.
Darshan's coming back to base, but will he actually get taunted out of this?
Darshan does
back.
TP. Impact didn't have a cooldown. Now it's 4v1. Darshan has to hold all by himself.
I don't think he can. There's 10 seconds on the rest timers.
Impact TPs, that's damage. GA pops. C9 looking to close out the game. Nexus turret 1 goes down. Darshan, he's going to get knocked up. Smoothie finds the play. C9 grab the ace, and they'll make the comeback and claim game number 2. My goodness, Cloud9.
What an incredible game from Cloud9. It looked like the odds were stacked against them. The pressure mounting in the top lane from Darshan on the inhibitor. They make the call to go for the play, and it is the game-ending one as Smoothie and Impact team up to find the perfect engage, eliminating Stixxay again.
All credit to C9 for making the plays, getting the team fights, and coming in the clutch. But that's the one that got away for CLG, especially for Darshan, who had such a good game up to a certain point. When he doesn't build to team fight when they have the lead and all ins on the split push, and then does not get the split pushes that let C9 back into the game, that's the swinging point, because CLG had played well enough up into that point. Huhi's positioning, Stixxay's baiting, Darshan's split push was great up until about 30 minutes when it started falling apart. So C9 now 2-0 up in the series, 1 game away from Worlds.
And I mean, these split push games are so hard. The decision-making that comes into it. You know, do you try to then group as the Jax as maybe an inferior team fighter? Do you go for the play and say, I trust my team, they will be able to disengage, and then we just win the game? And in this situation, I mean, he had been grouping every other time. This is the first time he doesn't group on a team fight. Trust his team to perhaps be able to pull off the disengage. They can't.
And we have to emphasize how difficult it is to disengage right now.
Yeah.
It's always been hard to do split pushing, but there are so many engage tools, even in this game. Rakan, Jarvan, Shen, even Cassiopeia grounding you makes it harder for you to escape. So CLG was doing an impeccable job of that game for 33 minutes until those fights down the stretch where they could not disengage and Darshan couldn't get enough done.
It's just amazing to see C9 really make the comeback. But to hear more about how Cloud9 did bring back game 2, let's send it over to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It wasn't easy, but through all the chaos, Cloud9 comes out on top once again, leading 2-0 in the series now. But gentlemen, before we try and decipher or break down, analyze this game in any way, shape, or form, let's just take another look at the final couple minutes here as the split push is attempting to be developed by CLG. Cloud9 take that as their opportunity to force an engage here in the mid lane.
And C9 kept forcing basically onto Stixxay, who was doing a horrendous job preemptively getting ready for this stuff. He's reacting in the sense that he'll ult once he gets hit by everything. It's like a train coming at you and you don't jump out of the way, but you get hit by it and then you try and move or something. It's a disaster. He keeps dying at the start of these fights, and Darshan knows that with Xayah dead, there's no chance that they win this fight. He's doing his best to say, Huhi will hold on, he'll wave clear, and I can potentially end the game. But C9 continues to keep, they're forcing these kind of fights. They find a look onto Huhi, and with that, they're able to kill him as well.
Yeah, and that's the kind of the critical point where the game is actually over. Once they're able to get onto Huhi here, you know, rocket jump and the miasma keeps him in place. After that, it becomes, you know, with what's going on in this game, maybe there's a chance. The taunt has already been used, so that's why Darshan actually gets back to the base, but there's no way you're going to be able to save it at this point.
Yeah, just only one person up at a time. Even if Darshan's able to stall until Stixxay gets up, Stixxay is the only guy alive now, and no one can defend 1v5 or 4, whatever it was. And this game overall was just a complete abomination. It was spaghetti everywhere. There was nothing that was being executed correctly. It was actually very painful to watch, and it's something where I understand it's the 3rd place match. There's a lot of nerves going on. This is your last chance for Worlds, and it's a tough opponent. But whoever cleans it up first is probably gonna be the one to take this series.
I think that's a really really important point. The fact that we have to recognize this is for the third and final spot at Worlds for North America. Both of these teams that look at their entire season success based on whether or not they go and compete internationally and how well they do internationally. One of these teams isn't even going to make it there. So there is a lot of pressure. There are a lot of nerves, I'm sure, on the stage, but it is about coming out and being able to handle that pressure and execute on the day. So far, Cloud9's coming away with the victories, but even in their victories, Kobe, they're not looking super clean.
Yeah, what it looked like in this game was a lot of plays were set up, and so the initial play would look like what you would expect from these teams, and it was good setup play, but then the play would break down.
Right.
And after the breakdown, then there would be all these little scattered movements, and people are hiding in brushes and going for this.
Let's work through some of the craziness. We got a couple more replays. I want to pull up the first one here. 25 minutes. CLG getting a 4-for-0 near the Baron. C9 will stop them from taking the Baron following this fight, but it was a pretty big swing in terms of advantages for CLG.
And this was actually a decent look for Cloud9. They jumped right on Huhi. Huhi has been the basically central carry for CLG this game, but sneaky rocket jumps in right in range of Alistar knockup, and then Afro gets this 3-man pulverize, and everyone from CLG is able to arrive, so they immediately turn that around, which then leads to a long chase, which eventually turns back around. But it's all these turning points in the game that cause a lot of these team fights not to go the way that you expected them, and that's why a lot of people are having those feelings.
Yeah, and I think like if you look at CLG off that play where they get the Baron and Darshan had been put very far ahead by the focused efforts out of OmarGod, it felt fine for most of this, the first like 25 minutes of the game.
Right.
It made sense. CLG trying to snowball around topside. Darshan gets big. He's split pushing well. He starts building that Blade of the Rune King, which was criticized a little bit, but I think up until that point you're thinking, I'm on full split push mode. I'm doing great. I shouldn't need to group up. And then out of nowhere, Stixxay starts getting hit by everything.
Right. The way the game was going, it didn't look like CLG was ever going to have to fully 5v5 team fight. And so Darshan was kind of given permission to go for that full split push build. But then, of course, as you mentioned, Kobe, with the setup plays from C9, those Rakan engages, being able to engage from a screen and a half away. And when Stixxay isn't doing his part in avoiding those engages by using his ultimate, his summoner spells, and whatnot, it is very much easier for C9 to force the fights. I want to take a look at one more that they win. 33 minutes in, 4-for-2, leads to a Baron, and this is where the comeback got mounted for Cloud9.
And this is another one of those scrappy fights. CLG is going to kick this one off, and then it just breaks out in so many different directions. Some people are going to chase Contractz and Impact. Some people are going to look more at Jensen and Smoothie and Sneaky, and they end up eventually settling on chasing out Impact, which is fine. They're able to get this one kill, but instead of resetting after blowing a ton of these cooldowns and maybe looking to force again or get back to Baron, they're instantly gonna re-engage on the Jensen here, who still has his summoner available, so he's able to get out of here with the cleanse and Sarah, and then here it's just a long chase down sequence for C9 now.
Yeah, and then the disengage, it's the breakdown in the play. The point you talked about where, oh, they killed the Shen, and you're thinking, let's go over the power points at that stage in the game. Oh, we have 5 people, plus we have the dominant split pusher. Maybe they should try and get some pressure there. But if the breakdown happens, they get into this scenario where they then are forced to try and stop this Baron, but it's at the cost of more lives.
Yeah, you got the first kill. They greeded a little bit for that second one with aphromoo trying to go for Jensen. That opens up the mid lane skirmish where Sneaky gets the kill or two back. And then we lead ourselves over to the Baron. I mean, it's a very long play, and as you can see, this was pretty much the entirety of the game, was how do these teams operate and deal with the chaos of the moment?
And that's the thing is I think C9 would just have better tools in some senses for like crazy fights that are going to go on. If Xayah is able to, reactively dodge out in a skill shot, that's huge in terms of like, oh, well now Rakan's in the middle of my team and I can kill him. But he was always getting followed up on because he kept getting hit. And then once you lose the AD carry and you have the split pusher versus the tank and Shen, it's so hard to win that situation.
Yeah, I mean, what's been consistent here for Cloud9 in their 2 victories, they have Rakan for engagements, they have solid 5-on-5 late game. This one was Cassiopeia and Tristana.
Right.
So, once you get to this late stage in the game, if they can group up and force that fight, which they're able to do, with Shen right on top of Rakan's back, then really good execution.
Is it even possible for CLG to dismantle that formula then? I mean, in terms of champion select, moving into game 3 here, C9 has selected blue side, so we're going back to the game 1 settings essentially, but like, is there a way that CLG can even remove the 5v5 element, or at least this late game powerhouse from C9?
I mean, you probably have to ban it because I think they'll take it first pick again like they did in game 1. And to be fair to Stixxay, because we've been harping on him a lot of people are playing bad in this series. I think other than Darshan and Huhi for CLG, and you have Jensen Jensen, Smoothie probably for C9. A lot of people are having mistakes.
Those are the good players. Solid performers.
The two players on each team that are kind of like winning their teams the games, I think the most you can do to limit their effectiveness is going to help you a lot. So if you can take him off that Rakan for Smoothie, that's going to be a huge factor for CLG.
Any other thoughts there, Kobe?
I mean, if you're going to just accept that the games are going to go this way, then you're going to want to draft into that. But like we said, there are points earlier on where with what they have, they could win the game. So you have to either change up the execution for the early part or accept that the game is going to go this way and draft accordingly.
All right, we're stepping away, but Cloud9 are 1 win away from booking their trip to Worlds. See if they can complete the sweep versus CLG when we come back. We'll see you soon.
By the way, whenever you guys talk, in my brain it registers as shapes, and that's how I understand. Holy shit!
I thought you understand in English.
No, shapes and colors.
Sneaky though, doesn't get the ult-set. Smoothie, he tries to disengage the rest, but in fact, a big taunt for Huhi, able to steal the kill. Smoothie goes down as well. The Viktor is Contractz a little late here.
Can't flash.
Viktor here. I'm just I can look. Okay. The dodge is maybe enough for the counter strike. Still damage in. Buster shot good. Sneaky looks at the reset. They're on to Huhi. But they're going to try and get Huhi. Damage is there. C9 able to get the kill. And now they need to try and end the game. Now it's 4v1. Darshan has to hold all by himself. I don't think he can. There's 10 seconds on the rest time. TPs. That's damage. GA popped. C9 looking to close out the game.